If you feel like life has passed you by and it is too late to fulfill your purpose and your dreams, then I got a dirty truth for you. The dirty truth starts now.
It's a dirty truth for Deante Young. Hit a main course, get an entree done. Pull up on the gang, all the fly day ones. Tune in, come and see what Deante done. It's a dirty truth for Deante Young. Hit a main course, get an entree done. Pull up on the gang, all the fly day ones. Tune in, come and see what Deante done. Like, just vibe with it.
Welcome to the Dirty Truth with Deante Young. I am Deante, and we have a very, very special episode. And I want you guys to really internalize this episode because I think a lot of us, we get caught up in what society says. The name of this episode is called Finding Your Purpose After 40. And I know a lot of us think that if we don't have our lives figured out the way it should be by the time we're 28 or 33 or 36 or something like that, then we've missed the boat. But I'm here to tell you, you did not miss the boat. You did not miss the plane. Listen, I put on oil of Olay every day, so I am up there. But full disclosure, I am actually older than people think. And because of the journey that I've had the past 5 years, I want to share it with you because I think what happened for me will be able to happen for you, if not more, and what continues to happen for me, because I just want to lift people up and realize that the stereotype that life is done when you get to be a certain age is just really, really greatly exaggerated. So let's jump right in. Full disclosure, I wanted to be some type of public figure when I was a child, and that never went away because I love to express myself. Now, I don't know exactly what you wanted to be, what your dreams are, but I do think that whatever your dreams are, I think you should use your life experiences, your hardships, your challenges, your setbacks to use that in some way, shape, or form to your advantage and to other people's advantage, because it's going to really build you up and give you the life that you want. I really believe that. We talk about purpose. We talk about your purpose and finding it after 40. There are people who know exactly what they want to do when they're younger and they have their whole lives figured out. But that's a rarity as far as I'm concerned. But here's the deal. In 2020, I had already made a choice at the end of 2019 to make this to be this special decade for me where I finally just got on track. And just so you know, in the year 2020, I turned 43 years old. And I never felt like, oh, well, family has gotten in the way or life's gotten in the way and I just can't be what I thought I wanted to be. I never thought like that. So what I looked at was I still feel very capable of becoming. Now, what did I want to become? I wanted to be some type of creative, someone to express myself. I did a lot of things in the past. I had a reality series. I've created so many different video series. I even wrote music and made 10 different CDs. It was underground music. But the bottom line is I never actually found my purpose. I just went through so many different situations and learned a lot of skills. So it definitely was not a waste. And I don't want you to think that your life is a waste up until this point. But if you're 40 or over, even if you're 60, just know that life starts right now. Don't ever think that youth is for the young, because youth is for whoever embraces their childlike qualities and the youthfulness that we all have. So in 2020, at the beginning of 2020, I actually got a raise. I was working for an auto insurance company, and I got a raise and a promotion all in the same month, January of 2020. By the end of 2020, I was fired. So this is Deante, and it is Wednesday, February 26th, 2020. It's about 8:54 p.m. Eastern Time. I am sitting in my car. This is a very important day, monumental day. I was fired. I'm very, very proud and appreciative and grateful for the experience. It's 100% my fault. I'm a little worried, but one monkey don't stop no show. And I believe in myself. I believe in God. I was fired from this job that I had just gotten a raise and a promotion, and it completely hit me like a ton of bricks. So undeterred, I said, you know what? I can go find another job because I have good credentials as far as working at this company and having these licenses for insurance. But then COVID-19 hit in March, and it completely shut the world down. So I want to kind of walk you through this thing for these first 5 years from 2020 to 2025 to really, really illustrate to you what's possible for you if you feel like that you are stuck, if you feel like you have not found your purpose. I just want you to understand you can do it. Okay. So I'm going to give you a series of rules, 5 rules to follow if you really want to find your purpose after 40. Rule number 1, invest in yourself. I cannot stress that enough. So for me, when COVID hit and the world shut down, I decided to establish a writing habit because I've always been a person that loved to write. I would write articles and everything. I wanted to write a book. I had been telling people since I was in 6th grade that I was going to write all these books, and it just never happened. So I really invested in myself by making sure that every single day I built a daily writing habit. And I started off with 500 words a day for the first week. Then I went to 1,000 words, 1,500 words, and that was extremely important. Now, for you, it can be something else. You know, whatever it is you want to get involved with, you want to invest in yourself. You always want to invest in education and coaching, and also to elevate your knowledge base and your understanding of things and the things that you really care about, the thing that just pretty much lights you from the inside out on fire. And that's what creative expression does for me, and writing is one of the best forms of creative expression there is. So I really doubled down on making sure that no matter what, I was going to get my writing in for the day. And I did that for the last 8 or 9 months of 2020 because the world was shut down. And I said, you know, I really want to start building so that by the end of the decade, 2029, if I'm still around, I want to be able to say, look at all I've accomplished. And I wanted to get started. The world was shut down, so you may as well just do it. But here's the thing. The world does not have to be shut down for you to invest in yourself. You can invest in yourself just by getting more knowledge, being curious. It's very important to be curious. So like I said, rule number 1, invest in yourself. And another example of what I did to invest in myself that could help you is I knew that I wanted to do books. That was the starting point. And so over the course of all those months, I ended up writing a total of over 200 articles. I wrote them and published them online. And I also had written a 315-page memoir that I never edited, but I just wanted to see if I can do it about my own life. And all of that stuff was building the habit so that it was normal for me every day to be able to say, well, you know what? I'm a writer because I'm proving it every day. I'm writing, so how could I not be a writer? That was investing in myself. So later in the year, I had invested $55, which was hard for me to come up with because remember, I'm not working. So I invested $55 into an online program with a guy named Tucker Max.
So for everyone joining us, it's 1 o'clock. We'll get started in a few minutes. We'd love for you to just take a minute or so to type in the chat, or if you're on Facebook in the comments section. After this challenge is over, after Friday, how do you plan on writing your book?
Who is a very successful writer, author, and so I was willing to go into his writing course to just find out how to really execute writing a book. And so when I was in that course, I had access to a Facebook group because of it. So that $55 got me access to his Facebook group. And in that Facebook group, I met a woman who is also a book writing coach. And she wrote a book called 28 Books to 100K. And that was something that really caught my attention because she was making the point that she found out through her research that people that are making 6 figures from book writing, they have a minimum of 28 books. And it's not necessarily 28 books, but it can be different versions of only a few books, such as a Kindle book, an audio book, an ebook, a hardcover, and a paperback. Those, that's like 5 or 6 different versions of a book. So that counts as 6. So I said, wow. So I was really intrigued because I never heard of that kind of thing. And then I found out that she can write, that you can write short books. It doesn't have to be a 300-page book. It could be a 100-page book. So I invested in that. And that was very important. So you always want to invest in yourself because that keeps you ahead of the curve and it keeps you in a position of power. and you are on offense, not defense, because you always want to learn and kind of grow your mind. So that's the best investment you can make. It's not real estate. It's not stocks. It's not the lottery. It's yourself. And so that's what you have to do. Invest in yourself. So by the end of 2020, I had become a very, very, very locked in writer. That was part of my daily habit as much as washing my face or brushing my teeth. So 2021 brings rule number 2. Fail fast and market on social media. Fail fast. What does that mean? What that means is instead of doing things in a normal pace, you want to just try a whole lot of things, even if you are not sure of how they're going to turn out. And for me, I did that by first starting the year by using the stimulus money that they were giving out for COVID. I used that stimulus money to buy the woman's course. Her name is Michelle Cope. I bought her course explaining further how to write books because I'm like, man, I'm going to do 28 books and get 100K. So I invested in that, and then I founded Dirty Truth Publishing LLC with that stimulus money. So over the course of the next 12 months, I wrote 5 books, 5 nonfiction books. And that was my way of failing fast. Most people, they will write a book and it would take them like a year or 2 years or even longer. But I wanted to just make the curve go very, very fast. I wrote my first book in 11 days. And from the time I started to the time the book was finished, edited, the cover was designed, and it was uploaded to Amazon, that was a total of 19 days. And so the next book I wrote, it was only about 5 or 6 weeks later. And then I was just off and running. So I wanted to fail fast. Now, I didn't think of it that way, but that's very important. So rule number 2 is fail fast. You definitely want to fail fast, meaning you want to just try a lot of things because you're going to get double the results in half the time. And it's not to shortcut the process. It's actually to really like pack in your knowledge because you have urgency. Let's face it. All these decades have passed. We're past 40 now. So there's nothing wrong with being urgent because, I mean, look at how we just kind of live by default. I think most of us, and I'm not saying everybody, nothing applies to everybody, but I think that what happens is we live by default at times. And so why not speed things up? You can always find time to do things that matter. And if you truly want to find your purpose, these are essential things that you have to do because it's going to get you further, faster, and you're going to learn so much quicker than it would take someone else who just goes at what I consider to be a normal pace. So I was unafraid to make bold steps, and you should be unafraid to take bold steps. And I was always going up to people and saying, hey, you want to buy a copy of my book? Or, hey, take a picture of it. And that's how I was marketing it. I was basically showing my work like they talk about in math class. I was showing my work by going on social media and showing that, look, this person has my book and you should see that, hey, I'm an author. One other thing that really helped me is that there's a young woman named Amber who has since become a really good friend and phenomenal supporter. So a month after my first book was published, she came across a copy of this book. I didn't even know who she was, but she found me on Facebook after reading some of the book, and she was so full of praise and gratitude because she said that the book helped her and served her so much. But it's my first book. It's called Fuck Your Insecurities, but it's FUCK, and that's a very important acronym. F stands for forgive your insecurities for the pain they've caused you. The U stands for understand, where your insecurities come from and why. The C stands for confess them to yourself and other people, meaning your insecurities, so that they can lose the power over you. And then K means kick them to the side and keep moving forward. She loved the fact of how plain spoken the book was. A friend of mine also said that they loved the book because it was so honest. I was able to expose things that would be considered embarrassing, and I did not try to look perfect. So he said that made him trust me more. So going through that gave me a blueprint going forward, meaning to just be really transparent and to always share my dirty truth, which I think we all should always do that, because forget about looking perfect. That's not the game. The game is to just be transparent and really expose your insecurities, because that gives you strength. It's extremely, extremely important to make sure that you have that mentality to share your dirty truth. There's no more important thing when you're trying to get people to accept you as a credible person. Share your dirty truth and don't hide behind the facade of something that is not authentic. Rule number 3. This took place in 2022, pretty much. So you want to fly close to the sun. What does that mean? Well, for me, that meant I wanted to tie myself to a public figure and also bring that public figure free value. So why is that important? Well, public figures, they have followings. And because they have followings, they have notoriety, and you don't have what they have. It's a great idea to try to reach out to someone, because that's like standing on the shoulders of giants, and you'll be able to also leverage your relationship with that person if you can manage to get in. For me, it was someone who is now a great, great friend named Wayne Dawson. So he is a broadcasting legend. At the time that I reached out to him, he had been on television for over 40 years as a broadcaster, as a beloved broadcaster in Northeast Ohio. And he's an 11-time Emmy winner. He's in the Broadcasters Hall of Fame. He's in just a lot of different Hall of Fames, put it that way.
Joining me now is Deante Young, the author and owner of Dirty Truth Publishing. Good morning, my friend. How you doing?
I'm blessed, man, always.
Yes, you are. Let's talk about the name of the publishing company. Dirty Truth Publishing. Kind of an interesting name. What's behind it?
Well, it's just that I think that we need to have brutal honesty with things. And so the writing that we do is all about the unvarnished truth about life and whatever the experiences are.
Mm-hmm. You've written 4 books in what, 1 year, year and a half, something like that?
5 books in 12 months.
He is a very highly accomplished guy, and he can have anybody to write his book. But I approached him after I had done my 3rd book, and I did a chapter on him that he participated with. And then I said, let me just take a bold step. So when you fly close to the sun, that means that if you are a person who wants a tan, then you want to be as close to the sun as possible, right? Or close to a tanning bed. So I wanted notoriety, because notoriety is all about building influence and being able to positively impact other people. And so by me having that affiliation with Wayne, that was going to elevate my profile, and really it was going to serve a lot of people. So for you, when you fly close to the sun, and get with people that are notable and have followers, that's going to elevate you, and it's going to help you go further faster. Because remember, we're past 40, so we don't want to sit here and act like, oh man, I'm 17 and 18, so I got like all this time. I got 30 years to try to figure this out. No, it's not that you feel like time is running out, but you just want to have some urgency, because why not have urgency, right? So fly close to the sun. So I tied myself to Wayne. I brought him value. I offered to ghostwrite his memoirs free of charge. And that's a job that's actually worth about $50,000 or $60,000 on the open market for a good ghostwriter, right? And I fashioned myself to be a good ghostwriter, actually a really awesome one, even though I had never ghostwritten anyone's book before. So by me doing that, by me tying myself to him, that was a big, huge plus. And then I was able to, I was on television. I ended up on television. And by me being on television that first time, it made a great showing. And I was talking about my book at the time. It was my 5th book in 12 months. I was talking because he interviewed me on Fox 8 News in the morning.
Speak before you think. Deante Young is the author, and man, he's been doing a lot over the last year. And the pandemic was good to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was very well received. And there was a young woman who was watching me on television, and she was so inspired by the things I was saying about how to communicate effectively. And so she ended up reaching out to me on social media. One thing led to another, and before I knew it, she had me going to a mixer for a Chamber of Commerce. And being at that Chamber of Commerce meeting, it introduced me eventually to a woman named Lori at a library. And I ended up bringing copies of my books to her, and she put them in stock. And that led to them putting my books in rotation at 17 different libraries in the Cleveland area. And so all of that came from flying close to the sun, because when you are hanging around people with influence, but you're not just being a wallflower or a hanger-on, you're there to provide value. And I provided a whole lot of value to Wayne. Wayne provided a ton of value to me. It ended up being this great situation. So when you fly close to the sun, you can utilize that for your own benefit, and whatever it is that your purpose is, they're going to help to validate you to other people who are in high places. So that's the essential part of flying close to the sun with people that have influence already, because you don't have the influence. And that's a great way to kind of borrow their influence. But you always want to provide them with value, because you want to have that fair exchange, no robbery.
The story of our very own Wayne Dawson. His story is the subject of a new memoir. Joining us right now is co-author Deante. Welcome
An agent?
both.
If we're going to hire him as your agent these
You
days?
know what? He is such a talented individual.
Yeah.
He really is.
Well, you've written a few books.
Yes, this is number 6.
A few. This is
Now, is this the first one on somebody, or
Yes.
the rest your own?
This
Really?
is the very first one.
So why did you pick Wayne?
Well, because he's an icon. He is a pillar of the community. He's been exceptional for decades, and I think that that's transformative for anyone that would know his story.
Rule number 4, continue creating opportunities. And so that's what I did. So once I was done with ghostwriting Wayne's memoirs, what I wanted to do was take things to a whole nother level. So I was taking different opportunities. I was able to ghostwrite someone else's book, and I did that knowing that she was influential in her own way. She was not a celebrity, but she definitely had influence and followers, and she had a certain level of notoriety around the Cleveland area. She had been doing fashion shows for a long time. She's a legally blind fashion model, but her story was incredible. So I told her that I wanted to help her, and she just happened to be in the midst of wanting to write a book. And so I said, yeah, you know what? I would help you with that. And first, she became one of my book coaching clients. So I was able to establish a book coaching entity as well.
I'm nervous of all of this, everything. And it's like, oh my God, this is a lot. And I'm nervous for petty reasons. And I say the petty reasons are, I'm nervous about what will people say. She's doing what, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All of it.
Well, I'm here to tell you that if you're nervous, then you are officially in the right place. And when I say the right place, I mean the place of nerves. You should be nervous. I would be really worried if you weren't, because like I said before, if you are not nervous, then you are not reaching high. You're not going, beyond just conventional, regular, everyday Joe stuff. The reason why you're really nervous is because you know that this is a big deal. And
I feel like it's like when I looked at your stuff, I'm like, oh.
And it was all because of what I had been doing by taking the first step and investing in myself and sharing my dirty truth, which is extremely important. So all of those things created a chain reaction. And so at the same time that I start working with this woman to ghostwrite her book, I also was organizing a book tour for Wayne that was just, in the greater Cleveland area. I ended up organizing 19 of them, and I moderated them, and it put me more in the spotlight because Wayne has been a famous figure in Cleveland for, like I said, over 40 years. So anytime I'm attached to someone like that, anytime you're attached to someone like that, that's going to leave fairy dust on your shoulders.
People like us. We're number one, and because we don't, and we're just like regular people. We're just up here talking. I mess with Scott, because I know he won't do anything because we're on the air. So he's. everybody has their favorites, you know. Channel 3, there are a lot of people who love 3. A lot of people love 5. A lot of people love 19. But I will say this, and I'll stop. Our last book, they told us in the morning, I hope they're not lying to us, but they told us in the morning, we had a meeting this past week, and they said, in the mornings, they said if you combine all the ratings of the other 3 stations and put them together, we would still be number 1 in the morning. I'm like, whoa, hey, ho.
And you're going to have that level of influence that grows. And so it also led to speaking engagements that were paid. When it comes to self-empowerment, I would always say the first step is you have to understand what is the definition of you. It also was able to get me to meet other people that were, public figures and famous. And then because I was very, very much a stickler for communicating well with people, they were always really impressed by me and the way that I presented myself.
Thank you for being here. Deante, thank you. You're truly inspiring. Stay in touch. Follow him too on social media. This man, he's a true publicist. He knows everything.
He does.
He's amazing.
So this is not about me. This is about you, whatever you have as an advantage, because you do have an advantage. At 40, you've already lived life. So use your life experiences and the things that you've learned about yourself over all those years and leverage that to appeal to people and to be able to say, I can be an asset to this person. This person might be rich. They might be famous. They might be just some type of notable figure, but it doesn't mean that I don't have something to offer as well. So that's what I did. I just kept creating opportunities, and I was just leveraging my notoriety. And I was always making it a point to follow up with people that I knew that had followers. So when you do that, you want to make sure that you're doing it in a way where you're not being a freeloader, where you're not being a mooch, where you, like I said, fair exchange, no robbery. You want to exchange value for value. And you'll be surprised at what you get just by doing something for someone, offering something of value, not asking for anything in return, and then things just come to you because of I guess you can call it the law of reciprocity, where people feel like they want to reciprocate the goodwill that you brought to them, the value that you brought to them. So definitely you want to continue to create opportunities. That's rule number 4. Now, rule number 5 is you want to swing from the fences. What does that mean? That means do not be afraid to go big, to try something that might feel very, very intimidating. And I give you an example. So by the time I got to the swing from the fences phase, it was all about the things I kind of cleared those levels. It's like when you're in a video game. When you're on level 1, your mentality is a certain way. Once you get to like level 6 or 7 or whatever the top levels are, and you're succeeding at those levels, your expectations are going to grow bigger of what you're able to do. So same thing happened for me. And so I felt like I had nothing to lose. Even if I felt nervousness and insecurity, I said, I'm going to still make the ask, because the worst thing they can do is say no. And quite frankly, is that really that bad? Because what they always say, failure is actually feedback. I don't necessarily subscribe to the whole idea of failure, but I'm talking about what people consider to be failure. So swing for the fences. In my case, I started making huge offers that align with what I wanted to be known for. So things that align with what your purpose is. Okay. So I went to people that were notable, people that had following, people that were wealthy. And I utilized that knowledge and also what I had already proven to be able to do and capable of doing, and the respect that I was getting because I was always publicizing these things on social media. I was showing my work. I was showing that, hey, I just had a speaking engagement here. I spoke to these high school kids and elementary school kids because I was asked to do that. And so people start to see you as a person of influence. They always talk about what they say. They said leadership is just influence. And so they say you want to influence the influencers. I think that's a John Maxwell maxium. And so that's kind of what it was for me. And it can be the same for you. Swing for the fences. So what you want to be known for, you want to prove to yourself that it's possible. If nothing else, you want to swing for the fences and go big, something that can make you feel really, really nervous that, yeah, I don't think I can accomplish that. If it makes you feel nervous, then it's probably a great thing. If it doesn't make you feel nervous to make the ask or to swing for the fences or to ask for something that you feel is out of reach, then you're probably not thinking big enough. It's that simple. And it's very easy for us to feel insecure about what we're capable of getting from someone. But let me tell you, you'll be surprised at just how much making the ask, making the offer will do for you.
Here to announce that, where's Deante at?
I'm over here.
Someplace, yeah, where's Big
Over
Daddy
here.
at? So, anyways, announce Big Daddy's going to
Over here, Jim.
be a ghostwriter, edit, publish a book, which is transcending beyond the normalcies of life. And anyway, so stay tuned. So Deante's back there in the corner. So we'll take pre-orders. I think the minimum is 100, right, Deante?
Yeah.
And so
100.
just check him in the back.
You will be absolutely surprised because I've made asks that I look back on them and say, man, I can't believe that I actually had the guts to do that. But then I say, well, wait a minute. Why would I think that way? Because, I mean, I'm just like anybody else, and anybody else is just like me. We're a person that has things to offer. No matter who you are, you have something to offer. And so I knew that at some point, with going through all this stuff over these years, I started to realize and understand that my actual purpose was really using my life experiences and my ability to communicate, articulate, and just be curious and self-expressive. It was to use all of those things to better myself, to have more self-awareness for me, but ultimately to help other people, whether it was helping other people to realize that they had a very valuable story.
You are a unique character. And the reason I say that, it seems like you have this life purpose to make others' life purposes come to pass. You're not just satisfied and content with your life being on point. You seem to have the gift of direction for other people. And for that, God is going to just continue to elevate you, to connect you, to use you, because you're not selfish with your gift.
Or to realize that, hey, you probably should be a little bit more self-aware, because that's going to help lift you up once you understand that it's okay to feel limiting beliefs or insecurities. So you, when you're looking for your purpose, just understand that one of your biggest advantages is being over 40. Whether you're 40, 50, 60, 70, and beyond, you have a decided advantage. It's just like if you are playing basketball for 10 years and you're consistent with it, you have an advantage over somebody who was just playing for 2 years, because you know a whole lot more, because you've been in that arena, so to speak, and you're kind of getting the education because you're spending more time doing it. So you definitely want to do that. Now, those are the main 5, but I will tell you that there are 2 that are very, very important. Two things, I should say, that are very, very important that you have to internalize when you're looking to find your purpose after 40. So all of the things that I just talked about, investing in yourself, failing fast and marketing on social, fly close to the sun, continue creating opportunities, swing for the fences, all of that stuff will fall on deaf ears, and things will fall flat if you don't do these 2 things. Number 1, you must always be learning and practicing doing. You always want to be practicing doing the thing that is your thing. Always be learning. You have to educate yourself as if you're reading the newspaper every day. If you want to know what's going on in the world, you have to look at television or newspaper or radio or listen to podcasts on current events. You have to do that. You can't do it without that. So you have to be, number one, always learning and practicing and doing.
Without giving too much information, because we do want people to buy the book, what's it about?
It's about being around people that are not knuckleheads. Being around people that's on the same trajectory as you. In other words, if you're going to be around somebody that's smoking cools every day, they still make cools? If you're going to be around somebody that's smoking cools every day and drinking Old Gold, you probably ain't going to go anywhere.
And the second thing, and this is probably the first thing, is having the right support system. Because over the course of these years, getting to the point of finding what my purpose was, there were people that had been in my life for many years that are no longer in my life and have not been for a few years because they would have hampered me. They would have put dirt into my wings, so to speak. And so having the right support system, having the right foundation, having the right environment, the right selection of people around you is going to be so very important to really getting to the place that you need to be to even start taking these small steps and then big steps. Because when you're finding your purpose, you need a community. And the community can be as simple as just people that you love, people that you know personally, but make sure that the people that you hang around and spend the most time talking to in person or otherwise, whether it's over the phone, online, or whatever, make sure that those people serve you and feed your soul in a positive way. They don't have to necessarily take you to another level, but they definitely cannot have you going backwards. There's a saying that goes that people are like elevators. They either take you up or they take you down, but they never leave you on the same floor. They never leave you where you're already at. It's either up or down. And so that's what I would always let you know. You definitely want to have that mindset when it comes to trying to find your purpose and build your life into what it needs to be. Now, by the time you're 40 and beyond, hopefully you have had the life experiences that show you who is who, where you know people can be jealous, they can be haters. What I call people that hate on you and that are jealous of you, I call them secret admirers. They secretly admire you, and that's why they talk smack and all this nonsense, right? They're jealous of you. They wish bad on you. And so you want to steer clear of those people. But I've had so many people. That's why the book that I wrote called Stick With Your Own Kind, I deliberately made that title to be a controversial title because my titles are thought-provoking. But stick with your own kind in a nutshell means stick with your own kind of people depending on what you want yourself to be. So if you want to be a knucklehead, stick with your own kind, meaning hang with knuckleheads. But if you want to be someone of influence, someone that has a purpose in this world to be a part of the solution and to elevate people and to elevate yourself and your own understanding and your self-awareness, in order to have that, what you want to do is you want to stick with your own kind of people, meaning positive, uplifting people. No one is perfect. So it's not about looking for perfect people or finding perfection, because that does not exist. It's all about just finding the people that's going to be your tribe. So stick with your own kind. So definitely you want to have the right support system, always learning and practicing and doing. And that goes with everything. And I guarantee you, you will be so much further along your journey than you've ever been before. I'm a person who, like I said, when I was 10, when I was 20, when I was 30, 35, and even 40, I did not have a clue what I wanted to do. I just knew I wanted to be something special and be someone that was really showing what I can do publicly, just being self-expressive. And so what is your thing? You may not even know what your thing is, but I'm willing to help. I'm willing to help you. And you can just email me at dy@deanteyoung.com. That's DEANTEYOUNG. But really, definitely, you want to find your purpose. Because listen, 40 years old, 50 years old, 60 years old, we all have a great advantage.
Some people have a gift of writing and you can't get to them, but you are approachable. You are the truth. But you all agree with me. You are the truth. And for that, God is getting the glory. We appreciate you, and we want to see you grow. We want to see those national New York Times bestsellers, ghostwritten by Deante Young. We're going to be like, oh my God. And it's not too hard for God. Everything has a start.